All right. So like Brian said, my name is Karina. I work as a music therapist here at our local hospital. I work in the inpatient psych unit, so a lot of like mental health focus for my work. But one of the things that I love about music is that it is such a diverse and broad topic that you just never stop learning about music. So as we talk, I love learning from people. I love learning about new songs and just in general, just anything music related. So if there's anything in the chat that you want to mention while we talk, please feel free to add that because I love learning from people and I love having that back and forth conversation. But yeah, so let's get into it. But before we get into like the main focus, let's talk about music for a second. Let's define it. So, Brian, if I were to ask you, what is music? If someone were to be like, I have no idea what music is, what is music? What would you say?
It seems like notes put together, different tones, a way of expressing oneself, perhaps. And yeah, in some ways, I feel like it's a form of communication. I don't know.
No, that's
Leave it at
that's
that. Is my best definition.
that's pretty spot on. That's pretty spot on. I Googled it because I'm curious. I was like, what is music? Right. So I literally typed in on Google, what is music? And there's a lot of different definitions, but one that I liked, I'm going to read it. It says, "An art of sound in time." And I like that they use the word art because music is basically sound, but when we want like beautiful music, it's an art, right? But it's an art that expresses ideas and emotions in significant forms through the elements. So there's a lot of elements that come within music. So there's rhythm, there's melody, there's harmony, and color, which I think is beautiful. So it's a pretty broad definition, but I feel like it pretty much describes music perfectly, that it takes art and it takes sound and it takes time and it takes harmony, which is what we're going to talk about tonight because it takes people coming together to create music. And that's where the harmony comes in, which I think is beautiful. So we're going to be talking about that.
Great. Oh, that sounds good. And when you mentioned the word color, when I think about music and the definition, I wouldn't have included the term color. What do you think that implies?
Ooh. Um, it's interesting because uh and I'm trying to think of the specific word now. You're catching me off guard. Is it called synesthesia, where people when they hear music, they see colors? That
Wow.
yeah, it's a I have to look into that more because that doesn't happen to me. I kind of wish it did. That sounds like a very cool phenomenon. But there's a
Well,
thing where when people like either hear music, they associate colors with it, which I think is pretty cool.
okay.
But even when you hear music, and even like beside that, when you hear music, there's also, I mentioned the word emotion as well. And there's a lot of mood and emotion within music. So when you think of color, I also think of like the mood and the tone of music. Like there's major music versus minor music, and that has like a color and a tone to it. Like maybe darker colors if it's sad or like a minor key, or like brighter colors if you have, more positive music. Which is another cool thing about music, is just so diverse. And there's a type of song and a type of genre and a type of mood for music. And we'll get into that too. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but
Oh,
yeah, we're going to talk about that as well.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that we've kind of defined music, let's talk about the point. Like, what is the point of music? It's interesting because music is something that you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't smell it, and you can't physically touch music. Like, you can touch instruments, you can touch sheet music, but you can't touch music. Like the sound, like you can hear it, but there's nothing that you can grab. So, what's the point of it? It can't provide nourishment. It can provide strength, can provide shelter, can provide light, can provide warmth, protection, or any fundamental need. So, why is it that a combination of sound and rhythm is loved by all of us? Like, what is the point of music?
Yeah, and if you're asking as a question, maybe it's something that we could ask for folks to pop into chat, to start the interaction back and forth. I'll give a little,
Absolutely.
idea or suggestion on my own, but I love hearing creative answers from our audience and participants. So if you think, hey, what's the point of music? What's the purpose? I would love for folks to drop into the chat. What do you think? Um, just give in a couple seconds for that while I give my best answer. I guess one thing that I would say is that there seems to be a coming together or unifying effect that music can take or play. And when I think about grandparents and grandchildren, and this webinar in particular was with the idea of, hey, can music help us come together in some way and have a shared experience? So that's going to be Brian's answer. If you would, I'd like to read a couple things that have just popped into the chat. Here's one.
Absolutely.
Music brings so much happiness and makes me so joyful. It creates much emotion, so much emotion.
Mm,
That's interesting. Oh, here someone else said to music to me is unifying. I think there's one above that. I feel like music can touch us even if we can't touch music. Hey, that's
mm.
pretty deep. Yeah, I like
That's
that.
a
Oh,
great point. That's a great
good
point.
insight. And Teresa says the point for me is to forget about things that are weighing on me for a time, for a
Wonderful.
little while and soothe my soul. So yeah, music can be in some ways
Use with an escape.
therapeutic. I
Absolutely.
guess therapeutic. Yeah,
Mhm.
this is right in your line of
Yeah.
uh,
Very neat. Yeah,
that's what's come in so far. It can help kids' academic ability. There's another one that's
absolutely. And we'll touch on that as well. Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah, these are wonderful answers. And I agree completely with everything. I love the comment about not being able to touch music. And I feel like that's an effect of listening to music and even playing music. Even if you can't like touch it physically, I really feel like music has the power to affect us and like touch us in different ways. So I agree with that comment 1000%. And I love that that was mentioned.
great.
Yeah. So a lot of one question that I like to ask my patients at work, and I'm going to get in a little bit into what I do at my job, but one question that I ask patients a lot is to imagine a world without music. I'm
Mm,
like, what's the point of it? But also, like, what would this world be like without music? And I honestly don't even like to imagine it. It would seem like a silent film. And I really like think that we were given the talent of music and just having music. And I'm going to give you my answer right now, what the point of music is. And there's a lot of different answers to why music is important, but one of the biggest answers that I feel and is my favorite answer is connection. Uh, it's emotion, it's relationship, and a lot of you said that already. It's a tool used by all people to simply to connect with people and their feelings. And it connects our mind with our thoughts. It connects our body with rhythm, our souls with emotion. So music can also join a lot of people together, which is also why we're here tonight. And if we think about it, our own heartbeats, they beat with a pulse, right? They have rhythm. So I really feel like music is inside of us as well, even with our own heartbeats. So I love that music uh, it's just so diverse and it has so many things that it can do for us. But connection, I feel like, is the word that really perfectly describes what the point of music is, if that makes sense.
certainly does. And as I think about the idea of music doesn't even have to be taught. That when we think about the earliest stages of little children, grandchildren, perhaps cooing or making noises, they don't come out speaking right out of the gate, but oftentimes the music of a infant, or the vibrato or even some of the crying can be musical in nature. So
Absolutely.
the fact that it's within us, I think, is a great starting point. And I would
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we're going to talk about this as well. But I mean, a lot of kids, they learn to make sounds and sing before they're able to form words. So even like when they're learning their ABCs, like they put it to music so that, they're able to help, remember it better and commit it to memory. So yeah, I like what you're saying. Absolutely. So let's talk about the benefits of music. We're getting to the point here, but thinking about this, I'm like, music is used in so many different aspects of our lives. It's just amazing how even like we don't even realize it and there's music there. So I've kind of broken it down into six different like main ways that music is like we're surrounded by music and the different uses that music can have. And also if you want to think of different ways that music is found, Like, go ahead and put it in the chat if you want. But the biggest one that I think of is music can be used for entertainment. So if you think of like live performances, going to concerts, even like if you're at a hotel lobby, there's music playing. If you go to an elevator, sometimes there's elevator music being played. If you go to Walmart, there's music being played there. If you go to a restaurant, so definitely for entertainment purposes. If you go to a sports game, there's always music there, right? To like get the crowd going, to get them pumped up, to signal that the game is starting, to signal that a game is like, going to go on break. So entertainment is a huge space where music is involved. And I would say, yeah, definitely the biggest. Another way you could use music is for celebration. There's music for weddings, there's music for graduation, music for anniversaries, for parties, for funerals. And that brings me back to my point where that's what I love about music is that it's so diverse that there's a type of song for every situation and for every genre and for every mood.
Well, and if I can just break in, I don't want to
Yeah.
disrupt your overall approach. I'm loving it.
Oh, go ahead.
When I think about that intergenerational or grandparents and grandchildren specifically, those family gatherings, such
Mm,
as a wedding, such as a birthday, such as even a funeral, that reminder that music is often a part of many of those different types of family connection times, I think then increases the sense of how important music is. And
absolutely.
and obviously, as we make memories in celebration of wedding anniversaries and all the ones we've just mentioned before, there's a sense of, hey, we're coming together. And what are we doing? We're either hearing music or in many cases, we ourselves are making music together. And that's
Yes.
got to be a sense of bonding and togetherness. So thanks for pointing that out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a good point. And that takes, when you're making music together and using music to come together, that takes either like having a certain kind of like commonality, which with what kind of music you like, or playing instruments so that you can play instruments together, or even showing each other different songs so you can like, have that sense of community and connection with sharing music. And we're going to talk about that. That's definitely on my list of things to cover. Um, but yeah, some other reasons why music is useful for setting the mood. If people want to work out, they tend to, put music in the gyms, or, people usually have headphones on when they're on a run or something. Any sort of physical exercise, there's music involved. Health purposes, for exercise, for music therapy, it can be used, to help people mentally, emotionally, for different services, whether if it's like a church service or like a funeral service, like we mentioned earlier. And the last one that I would think is for calling people's attention. So using music as a cue. So like a grand opening, or like if a game show comes back from like on a commercial, like you're watching TV or something. So those are just different ways that music can be used. Sometimes, we don't even realize it, but music is around a lot. I know in my life is around a lot, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
The last one that you point out of getting people's attention, it made me think of the musical The Sound of Music and Captain
Mm.
Von Trapp with the whistle. That's a
Yeah.
form of getting
Yeah.
his kids' attention, right? They each had their own special whistle, melody to
Yeah.
Dad wants you down here right now. And probably a little bit extreme, but I'm just agreeing with you on getting people's attention and calling people to order. I spent
Yeah.
in the military. When we
Mm.
think about the American Revolution and the fact that drum and fife, I'm not an expert, but we're used to sound the alarm or to call different aspects of the troops to do certain things, whether that's to move forward or to retreat or to, turn one way or another. Music has been used in that military setting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point. And that's why I love talking to people about music, because I didn't even think of that. So I'm glad you brought that up. All right. I do want to get into some like the demonstration and talking about family dynamics with music. So I'm gonna quickly talk about the benefits of music and then we will get into that. But some of the benefits of music, why it can be useful for us and for families to come together. It can improve your mood. Uh, I mean, studies show that listening to music just in general can benefit overall well-being. It can help regulate emotions. It can create happiness and relaxation in everyday life. And it said listening to music, but I also strongly believe that learning to play an instrument and playing instruments definitely does wonders for, yourself and your mental health, and also for connection with families. And music takes a different side of the brain than like regular talking with words. So it definitely, gets your brain working, and it challenges you, and it helps you to learn how to multitask. And yeah, it's definitely, I am a strong believer in learning how to play an instrument. I think it does wonders. It also benefits of music. It also reduces stress. So listening to music, and, they say listen to relaxing music, but that just generally means like, slower tempo, low pitch. Sometimes instrumental music does wonders for reducing stress. It can reduce stress and also reduce anxiety in people, whether that's going like through a medical procedure. So like, if you go to like a surgery, or if you go to like something like where you go to the dentist. Like I remember when I was getting my wisdom teeth removed, they were playing music right before, I went to sleep, and I was like, I was relaxed already just listening to the music. So that's a great way. I just thought of that right now, but that's a great way of music being used to help, reduce your stress and reduce your anxiety.
Well, just I'll jump in with the Global Council on Brain Health
Mm.
encourages individuals as they get older to maintain mental acuity and agility by learning new things. So that idea of learning a new instrument makes a lot of sense. One of the other strategies is making sure that people get enough sleep. That
Mm.
makes a big difference on brain health as we get older. And the idea of, hey, listening to some soothing music as we're getting ready for bed, or even, on a timer, perhaps listening to music as one nods off. I can see how music, again, can be a helpful component to maintaining positive brain health as we age.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And we kind of already touched on this one, but music improves memory and improves cognition. So people with Alzheimer's, if they're, forgetting their memories as they get older, a lot of times, like in my work as a music therapist, I've worked with people with either dementia or Alzheimer's where they have trouble remembering families' names, but they can sing a song. And we use music to help them remember not only the song, but to the memories associating that song, which has been really cool to see that in action. They're able to like sing the song and be like, "Oh, I remember singing this, with my daughter when I was younger." And it's like, "Wow, there's a memory." So music is very cool and very. I let music do all the work as a music therapist. I'm like, I'm just there to facilitate, but music is really cool to see music bring that about in people.
As a dad, I'd have to use the term, kind of a dad joke. Music is instrumental in your work. Okay.
There's-
You don't have to laugh at my silly jokes, but maybe someone in the chat will put a smiley face in. All right, keep going, Karina. You're doing great. Thank you for telling us this.
Okay. Um, Yeah, so I think of music, one of my patients actually said, and I was like, I'm going to use this. They were talking about how music was free medication, and I loved that because when you listen to music, it releases a trigger of dopamine into the brain, and dopamine is kind of like a happy chemical. Basically, it's a neurotransmitter that, our body makes to help us feel happiness, satisfaction, motivation. So music is free medication, which I like to use. But yeah, let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about why we're here. Let's talk about how music can provide opportunities for family bonding. Um, I think we talked a little bit about it, but let me hear like if you have any ideas that you want to add to the chat. I will say I love learning. I do not pretend to have all the answers, so I love to hear from anyone else. But from what I can think of, music can help families bond. How? How can music help families bond? And I truly believe that music creates a sense of joy, and it fosters memories, which we talked about, how music can help people remember things, whether it's singing the ABCs or associating bigger memories with music. So it can foster memories, which means, create memories and improve communication. So some of the benefits for families creating music and listening to music together, it can create lasting memories. How? By triggering emotions and memories. So if you're together with your family and I think of like myself, like when my one time I went to visit my grandma and I was going straight from work, so I had my guitar and she was sitting outside. It was like a nice summer day, and I got there and she was singing, and I like instead of going inside, I immediately sat down on the grass and I got my guitar out and we just started singing. And then my sister showed up, so we were singing, and we didn't even plan that. She was just sitting outside. I had my guitar, got there. We just like, and that's like something that I remember. And it made me so happy, made all of us happy. It was, a fun bonding time. And we were singing songs that like my grandma knew when she was younger that she taught us. So it's a generational thing. That's how we pass on, different generational things. And another beautiful thing about it is that this was all in Spanish. My grandma does not speak English. So not only are we creating memories, we're able to like learn, practice our Spanish. So combining music with, different cultures, and it's just a beautiful thing. And I love moments like that, that you don't even plan it. It's just coming together. It's, not expensive. It's free. We're creating memories together, creating joy. And yeah, it's just a great time to be able to come together and just do simple things like sing together.
Yes. Oh, that's excellent. And obviously, a memory made. Maybe in the chat, I'll ask, are there memories that individuals who are tuning in today can remember that involve music in one way or another?
Yeah.
When I think about my wedding, I there were several different pieces of music played, and one song that my parents sang in particular that is a song that every once in a while just pops into my head. And when I sing that at the house, my kids know where it came from. My wife is encouraged as we celebrate our anniversary together, and just when I think about the memories made and how music is often a part of that, I think that's, truly delightful. And as grandparents, I don't think that it's manipulative or a trick or anything to say, hey, I would like to create a memory with one or more of my grandchildren. And how would I do that? Well, I wonder if music could be pulled into that memory making experience and be intentional in a way. um, and I love the idea if, perhaps a grandparent speaks a different language primarily than the grandchildren, to teach a song in their, home language. And I suppose that could be done at just about any age. So thanks for sharing that personal experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So it creates a good bonding experience. It also fosters brain development. Whenever you're creating music together, it can encourage brain development. It encourages or fosters family identity. It helps, me with my family, we have a lot of Spanish speakers as well as English speakers. So, finding that identity. I'm also, an American living here, but I'm also a Hispanic, so kind of like blending all those things together to create, even more wonderful memories.
Yes.
It's a form of stress relief. So singing can help slow the heart rate, lower the blood pressure, and reduce stress hormones. So how can we do all these things? So we know that, singing together is a great thing, but there's also different things that we can do. Some that, don't, that you can just do at home. And I'm going to show you some of the different things that I have here that you can do, but also things that you can do out in your community. Doesn't matter like where you are, there's people in different places, which I think is awesome. So I'm going to try to keep it as, broad as possible. So one of the things that you can do at home is to create a playlist. There's definitely an age gap between, grandparents and between kids. Um, when I think of creating a playlist, I think of like creating songs that, grandparents would love to show their kids, like, this is a song I loved when I was younger, or this is just a song I love in general, like just stuff that you want to share with your, grandkids and with your family. And in like manner, kids can create songs or create a playlist of songs to show and share with their grandparents. And I think that's a great way to bond and to get to know each other. One of the first questions I ask people when I like meet anyone, I'm like, what kind of music do you like? I love learning about people's music interests, what kind of songs, what kind of artists they like. And if I don't know it, I'm like, even better, just something new for me to learn. So I love learning about music that my mom listened to growing up. My dad, they have complete like different music interests and music tastes. So that just means that more music for me to learn. And same thing with grandparents. I love learning about music that my grandmother listened to as a kid because it's a lot different than what I listen to, but I find beauty in it. So I that's a
Well,
great way.
let me share again. I hope I'm not interrupting, but a
No.
sense that chat, you know, Teresa shared my father was a military man and he was pretty, straight, buttoned down emotionally is the way she put it. But we listened to the Carpenters and Buddy
Oh,
Holly and Simon and Garfunkel. I
yeah.
just wonder, hey, do your grandchildren know what your father, meaning their great grandfather, used to listen to? And when I think about Simon and Garfunkel, which is one of the earliest CDs that I got, the Sound of Silence and Song of, anyway, just the Bridge Over Troubled Water and so forth.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
sense that these are timeless classics that
Yeah. Yeah.
even today can relate to, and a sense of understanding one's family legacy and family history through music.
Mhm.
When we think about doing genealogy, oftentimes it's thinking about, well, where did your mom live when she grew up, or where did grandma and grandpa move from, and historical geography. But I've never thought of doing a genealogical search of music through. When I think about my parents, listening to, in some ways, the Carpenters. That was a one of the songs at their wedding was "We've Only Just Begun." So by
Okay.
Aaron Carpenter. So
Wow.
as I think about looking back over the ages and through the generations with music, what a creative project that might be with a teenage granddaughter to walk
Hmm.
through that sense and process. I
Hmm.
could see that even being a school project that a child could work in alongside a grandparent and obviously learn a lot about themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so interesting because sometimes I'll like talk to my grandma or like my mom and be like, wow, there's this song that I know. And my mom's like, what? That's not the original person that sings it. Like it's this. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know this was a cover. So just like learning about where songs like originally came from and like hearing original versions, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So that's just having a conversation about music. You can learn so much. You can learn so much.
Great point.
Yeah, so showing each other and sharing what kind of music each other likes, performing for each other. So having like a karaoke night at home with families. I know I come from a big musical family, so every time we get together, it's a lot of getting the instruments out and playing for each other and singing for each other and singing together. Trying to figure out like what kind of harmonies we could do together. My family's big on doing like four-part harmonies, and my cousins and we grew up like playing together and singing together. Um, so yeah, that's another great way to connect. And, just at a family gathering. Let's see, singing in the car. If you guys are going on a trip together, creating a playlist for the trip to show each other different kinds of songs that you could do. I know that's a big one for my family as well. And if you're thinking of even younger kids, having a dance party, like doing the hokey pokey, that's something I used to do with my, cousins and sibling and, at my grandparents' house when she used to babysit us, like, she would teach us like different little hand motions to do. And that way you're working on motor skills, you're learning on memorizing things, identifying, your right hand versus your left hand. If you're like, I'm thinking of the hokey pokey right now, but yeah, so it combines different things as well as bonding. It does a lot of like, that's where the brain development comes in. Yeah.
Excellent. I did see
Mhm.
a bumper sticker on a car not too long ago that said, "What if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about?"
I've
Okay.
never heard of that. That's pretty great.
Another silly joke. Sorry, you don't have to laugh. But
No, I
I'm
thought that
still
was
waiting. I'm still waiting for some smiley faces in the chat box, but I haven't seen any yet. All right, continue. Sorry.
No, no worries. So those are different things that you can do with your family at home. And I have different instruments that I'm going to show you all. But I want to get through my list first. But yeah, definitely like when it comes to listening to music, creating playlists to take on road trips or singing together. That's very big on creating and fostering, bonding moments. But if you want to think of like different things to do in the community, whether wherever your community is, if you're thinking of like young kids, like for example, if the parents are at work and you're the grandparent and you're babysitting your granddaughter, your grandson, if they're very young, just different things that you could do with them. There is different things you can do like in the community. So there's like mommy and me classes, and I know it's called mommy and me, but if you're a grandparent, you can definitely take them to these classes. And these are great because not only are they learning of like different original songs, they're also doing a lot of like hand motion things, and it's a lot of things where like the grandparents are also involved, as well as not just like taking them and dropping them off. They're involved in the classes, and it's definitely a great bonding experience for you to do with your grandchild together. It's like a lot of there's different, I know in my community anyway, there's like libraries that have different, events that they host that involve parents and grandparents. I know I have a friend that she works as a nurse, so her mother is always taking her son to the library for different music events, and they have instruments like shakers and things, and it's a great time. And the grandmother's always like recording her son and sending it to her daughter and my friend, and she's like, look, like this is what we did today, we had a great time at the library. So I think I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea, to knowing that you're at work, but you're also your son or your daughter is in great hands with your parent.
Excellent. I remember that when my kids were really young, at those same toddler ages, maybe a little bit older, that my wife did some of the kinder music
Yeah.
lessons, which I think is pretty much exactly the type of thing that you're talking about, where every uh, class would start out with a similar song of introduction. Maybe each student would sing their name or something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
your different levels of vocal and instrumental play, and
Hmm.
just yeah, helping grow the brain and sense of understanding of how music works, and that connection between mother and child or grandparent and child. I think is very, very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The Kinder music sounds a lot like there's this I guess company, it's called Music Together. It sounds very similar. But it's like it's I wonder, I think it's like a 10-week course where like a parent or a caregiver, whether that's, your grandparents or, however, they meet together for 45 minutes every week for 10 weeks, and they experience like original songs and familiar songs. There's movement activities, instrumental jam sessions, rhythmic rhymes. So it's very like involved, and not only for, the younger generation, but for the older generation as well to get involved and to create memories together. So
Perfect.
yeah. If you're thinking of like, older grandkids, I love the idea of going to a live concert. Whether, you want to take them to what they want to see or what you want to see. I just found out like Billy Joel's performing in North Carolina. I'm like, that sounds fun. I want to go. But so yeah, there's definitely concerts of like, any big name or any like smaller name, whatever you're interested in. My family, like growing up, we loved going to orchestra concerts and symphony concerts. We're big like instrumentalists in my family, so going to symphony concerts like was like such a fun thing for my family to do if that's your sort of thing. So yeah, live concerts. And also the last thing I had in mind before I got into the instruments is making instruments together at home. So the DIY thing is pretty big nowadays. I remember during COVID, I led like a Zoom session where we just talked about different ways we can create instruments with like, grandparents and kids. And I don't have any with me right now, but I did have this like, so if you like want to make your own instrument, you think of like paper towel rolls. So this is a paper towel roll, and I just have a bunch of like, oh man, what are these called? I'm thinking cintas. I'm forgetting the English word for it. Hair ties. Yes. I currently have a bunch of hair ties on it, but you can put like rice in it or macaroni, and then you just put plastic on the side, cover it with a rubber band, and then you shake it, it becomes like a sort of rattler. So different ways to create instruments with your family at home. That is it's fun, and you can get as creative with it. You can design it different ways. I just have a bunch of hair ties on it, but there's definitely different designs that you could do on it, like whether if it's you wanted to color on it or paint or use a marker or paint. So yeah, I saw this and I'm like, oh, I gotta bring this out.
Great. When the toilet paper rolls or the
Yeah,
towel
absolutely.
rolls, my kids will, make horns out of them.
Yeah.
So multiple ways of using cardboard to create instruments, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So, in terms of like learning instruments, I think it is fantastic if grandparents are involved in their grandchild either learning how to play an instrument or learning together, or even taking them to their piano class or to their guitar lesson, because it shows that they care, that they're taking time out of their day to take them to this appointment. And also, even if they sit in the lesson to learn with them, even if you're interested in learning how to play an instrument. I think that's fantastic. So I'm going to show you some of the different instruments here that I have. I have a lot of them, and I'm going to try to move quick because I know we're running out of time.
You're
But
doing great. And I don't want you to feel pressured on time. I think that we're giving people a chance to ask questions in the chat as we go. So
okay,
as we're done by 6:30 officially, that will be just fine. And you're covering a lot of ground. So thank you, Karina.
no problem. All right. So like if you wanted to just provide, like even buy instruments for your grandkids, like if you wanted to just leave instruments at home and they came over and they wanted to play some instruments, I have a few different ideas here that you can use. I'm gonna put this up here. So I hope that you can see what this is. This is actually a mini steel drum. So if you think of like a steel drum, you think of like the big bowl of like metal drums that you see like in the Caribbean. This is a miniature version of it. I love it. I use it a lot in my work as a music therapist. But I love it because it's small, it's portable, and it has a beautiful sound. So I'm gonna play it here. I hope you can hear it.
It's not coming across. The sound
Oh no, that's a bummer.
wonderfully, but we cannot hear the actual instrument, or at least I can't.
Oh no, that's so sad. I wonder if I played it louder.
Yeah, it sounds so. I know that you're almost not going to believe me, but I see also in the chat we're saying nobody can hear anything. It sounds
That's
completely
a
mute.
bummer. Oh,
But
that's so sad.
but is
It's
this an instrument that you could get off of Amazon? Is it does it have a brand name? Tell us more.
Yeah, so you could get it off of Amazon. They come in different colors, different shapes, but this is a mini steel drum. I can show you the brand here. It's called Sonic Energy.
Okay.
You can get it off of like they have their own website, or you can get it off of Shar Music as well. SHAR Music. They have a lot of great instruments as well. I'm so bummed that you can't hear it. It's such a beautiful, like it sounds kind of like a xylophone if I were to compare it to anything, but definitely like a beautiful, like soothing sound, and it definitely would work like your motor skills. And it's what I love about playing music is that it's an immediate reward. So you're playing music and you're already automatically hearing sound. So like if a kid were to use this, it sounds beautiful, and there's not really like it's not about like messing up or playing bad, like kind of does the music for you because it has such a soothing sound. So that's why I like using this
Thank you.
for younger kids. Yeah. Another instrument that I have here, I call it a thumb piano, but the official name is a kalimba. So the way you would play it, it's like an interesting combination between a piano and a guitar. Like it has the wood shape with the hole in the center, but the notes here are kind of like the ones that you would hear on a piano. So you hold it with two hands and you pull down. I'm assuming you can't hear it as well, but yeah, so
Right.
that's how the kalimba would work. Let's see. A lot of different instruments that you could get that kids especially would love. You've got a tambourine.
Yep. Very familiar.
Yeah. You've got your small maracas or shakers.
Yep.
Let's see. I've got a bigger maraca here.
Yep.
Let's see here. I mean, you can't do a music themed thing without talking about egg shakers.
Yep. The kids, that's for sure.
Um, If you've got like young boys or girls that are interested in drumming, I have a drum pad here. I got this when, I was in school learning about music therapy. You just kind of like get exposed to like a bunch of different instruments. So, getting a drum pad and learning different rhythms, it definitely works like your brain and works, how to practice like being rhythmic and playing in time, like if you're playing with a metronome or anything. So, and this is pretty cool and it has a cool sound like when you um play instruments or play with your drumsticks on it. I don't think I did show this one. I think this is just a different sort of egg shaker or just a shaker.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and as you're looking, I just, a number of these things are percussion type instruments,
yeah. Hmm.
which um, are quick to learn, I guess is the easiest way I would say on that. The idea of, adding effects, percussion effects into existing music. One thing that I think would be fun with younger ones is being able to play a song that, let's just say, Billy Joel is playing, or a kid's song of some sort, and allowing kids to add in a way that they recognize, oh, I'm adding to the music. I'm coming alongside the artist, whether that's on the radio, or if grandma is singing a song, and saying, okay, I'm a part of this, and here's what I need to do. Just shake the tambourine at the right time, or
Yeah.
and playing a rhythm on a cowbell or a triangle, or one of the using one of the shakers as you put through. So
Mhm.
a couple of the questions coming in the chat, asking to repeat the name of the drum. I think that's the mini steel
Oh,
drum.
yeah. So this is a mini steel drum.
I'll type it in. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And the maker, even though we're not selling anything here today. Who was it that made the one that you happen to have?
This is from Sonic Energy. And
Yeah.
I didn't get this one off of Amazon, but I have seen a lot of these on Amazon and they're like different shapes and different colors, which I wish I had gotten those because I want a blue one. So yeah,
Yep.
I've seen them on Amazon.
I just looked them on Amazon, and I think for $30 or less, you can get them.
Yeah, yeah,
Depending on who the
absolutely.
maker is. So thank you for making us aware of that.
I've got two more instruments that I want to show you. So I definitely am a big supporter of like kids, young kids, even adults and grandparents wanting to learn, instruments like the piano or the guitar, violin or cello. I think it's fantastic not only for yourself, but also to, build connection with families. Like some of the memories I had of like growing up was and he's not my grandfather, but my uncle, like coming to my house and sitting at the piano with me, showing me different songs and singing with me at the piano. And those are memories that I'll never forget. So being able to do that with your grandchild, I think would be amazing. But if you want to do like a smaller instrument that's very easy to learn, I've got a ukulele here. Um, I know younger kids. I have a lot of friends that have kids that like love ukuleles just because of the small size. They can get their hands around it. And it it looks like a guitar, so but a smaller version of that. So and it's this isn't the hardest instrument to learn. For anyone that knows the ukulele or is similar with like or familiar with playing instruments, like if you want to learn or play a C chord, that just includes like entails your ring finger. If you look at the frets, 1, 2, 3, put it on the last string here and you play, and that's already a C chord. So it's not like the hardest instrument to learn, right? So I feel like this would be another fun instrument for grandparents to have at their house with their kids.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then my last one I saved, well, I love all of these instruments, but one of the funner ones that I'm saving for last are the boom whackers. Has anyone ever heard of or used or have a boom whacker? I'm going to show you all right now. And I'm bummed. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but I will show you what they look like. So they're basically different tubes that are instruments. And depending on the size that they are, they each are a different note. So if you look here, they have different notes. So this one here, this is red, this is a C, and then the one that I'm holding underneath is a D. There's E and F right there, and I have the whole scale with me here. So you probably won't be able to hear it, but if you play it like on the table or on your hand, it sounds like the note that you would hear on the piano. So this note that I'm playing right now is an E. And then here is a C. It's the lowest note, and it's the longer it is, the lower it's going to sound. So this is a pretty big tube here. So that's the
We
C.
heard that. That worked.
You do?
I think if you're farther away, you were kind of leaning back and it seemed to work.
You hear that?
Now I can't, but
Oh no.
it kind of like,
Okay. And what I love about these instruments, and this is a thing that we do in my house. So whenever we have people come over, doesn't matter who you are, we put a play along on our TV on YouTube, and we give everyone a note and we have them play. So I'm going to share my screen here so I can show you what I mean. And this is a great tool to get everyone involved, small kids, adults. And you were talking about this, Brian, where if you have give someone like a shaker or a tambourine or someone or something, and have them play at a specific moment. This is kind of like what I was thinking about when you use boom whackers, and you can use this for other instruments as well, like handbells. Um, we use tone chimes a lot, which is a lot of fun where I'm at. But I'm going to share my screen here to give you an idea. And I should have a YouTube link up
great. And
here.
I'll let you know that our number of participants continues to climb.
Oh boy.
Some webinars,
Hello.
some webinars things, drop off over time, but we're gathering folks. So
That's
uh,
awesome.
you're doing a great job. Thanks for sharing this with us.
Sure. So this is super easy. I'm literally just on YouTube and I put Boom Whacker sing along. There's a bunch of different songs that they do. You can even see my tab here at the side. You Are My Sunshine is a very popular song. I'm gonna play a little bit of it if you can hear, and it shows right when the note is supposed to play. That's not too loud.
Sounds
It
great.
tells you like when to start. And for example, if I have my C here, so everyone has a different note, and I wait for my C. So it's playing, playing. I have the whole scale, but I can't play it all by myself. So you play when it's your turn. Yeah, so this is a lot of fun. Anytime anyone comes over our house, my mom's like, get the boom whackers out. So we have everyone like with a different note, and we put a bunch of different songs on the TV. It's a lot of fun. And people are like, what are you talking about? But it's like, give it a chance, give it a chance. We're like, what are boom whackers? But like I'll take videos and everyone's like laughing and like waiting for their turn. And they're like, wait, I got her. Like, wait, I missed it. So it's a lot of fun. So I encourage you all, if you have young kids or even, if you are the host of many gatherings, buy yourself some boom whackers. They are so much fun.
Oh, that's great. I can really completely picture it with grandkids, cousins playing along and enjoying that time. And I know that, man, my parents would love watching my kids as grandkids walk through the process and make melodies together. Great memories. Oh, I really appreciate this.
I just realized that I forgot one last instrument. This is not and I'm almost embarrassed to show you all this because this one is broken. But if anyone has ever heard of a zither, I'm gonna turn this around so you can see. It's an instrument that I think originated in Austria, so in Europe, but it gives you like it's looks like a
Yes, we can
laying
see it very
down.
clearly.
I don't know if you can see that, but it comes like with a cheat sheet. So it gives you like what string to play at the right time. And I wish you all could hear it because it's like if you play it right where it tells you where to go, it like you can hear the song. Um yeah, so which is really cool. So mine is broken. So get yourself one that is not broken. But I think a friend of mine gave this to me at a Goodwill. So sometimes if you go to like, a Goodwill or a thrift shop, you can find some hidden gems there.
Yeah, I'll mention that our family does own an auto harp.
Okay.
It looks very, very similar to your zither. Um, and I did pick it up at a pawn shop in Danville, uh,
Oh, there you go.
down there one time, and it's been very enjoyable because you can play chords without a lot of fingering. If you've ever
Yes.
played an auto harp, the button says C, the button says G, the button says so. Just push it hard and then strum the instrument, and that's been a nice thing to add to the collection.
Yeah, cool. Very cool.
Well,
All
is there anything
right.
that you want to say as we wrap up? Just again, I so much appreciate all of these different aspects of thinking about music and considering how we can encourage learning with our grandchildren, and then also incorporate that relational aspect that unity or that music brings us together. Thank you for pointing out the kind of the magic of music, which is a unifying force. Anything that you have as we kind of end or ask one last time for folks to put questions in the chat? Let's see here. We're getting a lot of thanks and appreciation for what you've shared. That was wonderful. Thanks so much. Individuals
Aw.
can't wait to share the ideas with their kids and grandchildren. Um, uh, yeah, again, individuals saying, "Hey, I babysit every week, and I'm really looking forward to new ideas and considering how else to build upon what you've already shared." I don't want to I don't want to rush you, but I want to let you know that you're making a big impact for those who have tuned in today. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me. There's so much more that we could talk about with music. I didn't even get to go into like what I do at my job. But maybe that's, for another day. But I just wanted to wrap with again the importance of music. Music brings people together. It creates social cohesion. There's a quote that I learned in school that says, "When words fail, music speaks." And I love that because I truly believe that when I don't have the words to express what I'm trying to say, that the music can do that for me, whether it's me playing something or me sharing a song with someone that shows how I feel. So music can improve your health and your well-being. It can improve your confidence when you play for someone or with someone. It gives you a sense of confidence and resilience that, you know, it's something to be proud of. Learning music is a skill that requires technique, reading music, expression, listening. As you continue to learn these things, you build resilience. So music can also be used as a creative outlet. And the most important reason why music is so important is because music is fun. It's just a blast. There's so many things that music can do for you, but it's such a fun time. It puts a smile on my face, and I hope that it can do the same for anyone else. Whatever your relationship with music is, I encourage you to develop it, and to develop it with your family. And it can do wonders for your family, for family bonding.
Excellent. Well, that is exactly the type of thing that we wanted to share with folks tonight. You've done a magnificent job. Thanks for using your talents to help inform us further. And we can take action immediately on a lot of the different aspects that you pointed out. And you pointed out not at a high cost either. So I want to encourage folks to sign up for the next one, which is the Dynamic Grandparenting program held next month on the 28th, so in a month away. It's going to be focused on academic cooperation, meaning how can grandparents come alongside children in the academic progress that they make from the earliest days through college and beyond. AARP is all about lifelong learning, and doing that with one's grandchildren. What a blessing that could be. I've dropped the link, the web link, if you want to register for that today. It'll also be on AARP's virtual community center as we get the word out here at AARP Virginia. Karina, thank you again for your participation today. I want to let all participants know that we will be sending out a recording of the presentation and a survey, so you can let us know how we're doing, and we will definitely take all input as we continue to work to improve and make these delightful for all. Thanks for being with us today, and that concludes our program. Goodbye.